I wanna tell you a little riddle. There are 3 things in life that are way better when they age: wine, men, and steak. Today I'm gonna show you how to get the latter. Let's get one thing straight. Dry-aged meat is the Balenciaga of steaks. During the dry aging process, the meat develops an out-of-this-world taste. The flavor concentrates into this Mike Tyson flavor punch to the taste buds, and frankly eating it is an out-of-body experience. But is it possible to dry age at home and indulge into this luxurious experience so you won't have to go and drop your entire paycheck at a restaurant? Yes it is, and let me show you how I did it. Usually, dry aging meats is done in a low temperature controlled environment like a separate dedicated refrigerator with a small fan inside that circulates the air and ensures constant equal moisture levels. This fridge is different than a regular one, as it should be opened on special occasions only when the Queen of England comes to visit or when you want to visually check the meat. This is because you want to keep the inside temperature as constant as possible. No highs or lows like last week's stock market. Now, if you think I'm gonna go and buy a special fresh dry-aged meat, you must think I'm crazy. My love for meat doesn't go that far. But since the only type of aging I accept in my life is dry aging, I can definitely do it at home in my regular fridge by using these special bags, and so do you. First, let me show you my meat. Let's start with a beautiful big piece of USDA choice tenderloin. Dry aging works best on big hunks of meat, as you'll have to cut away some part of it before cooking. So start with a big piece of meat that you can hunt at any Costco near you. Just don't get the extreme peeled one, since after dry aging all that nasty fat will be cut away anyway. You don't want to throw away meat because meat is money. Now, if you're wondering how dry-aged meat is different than the regular one, well, I think it smells like science. Do you remember that fat chick from high school who was kinda nerdy who now looks drop-dead gorgeous? Well, this is exactly what happens to meat during dry aging. Let me explain. The weight loss causes the flavor to concentrate, which becomes much more intense. Also, the meat becomes naturally tender, mainly because the enzymes like calpain destroy the collagen protein found in meat's connective tissues. Thus, we're left with an amazing to look and taste piece of meat that frankly is worth waiting for. Now that we know all this cool stuff, let's go back to the recipe. I'm gonna cut this big piece in two. One of the pieces will be dry aged for 6 months, so subscribe now to see the results in the next spring. This other piece will dry age for about 1 month. In order to do that, we'll need these special UMAI dry aging bags. 5 charcuterie bags cost around $30. You can buy them on Amazon, link in the description. These are special bags that act as a membrane between the meat and the exterior, allowing for oxygen and moisture to pass through the bag. We'll take the meat and insert it in a bag while it's wet. If the surface is dry, it won't stick to the bag, and that would be a problem. The next step is removing the air from the bag. You can do that with a vacuum sealer, but if you do not have that, let me show you the redneck way. Take a big pot filled up with water and submerge the bag under the water. Starting from one end of the bag, push the air out by dragging your hand on the bag, making sure the bag touches the meat until it looks like this. If there are small places where the bag doesn't touch the meat, that's totally fine, no worries. Then take one of these plastic things and tie the end of the bag Dexter style as tight as you can. You want to strangle that meat, okay? Well, I mean, that didn't come out right, but you get the idea. Now, put the meat in a dark cold place like my heart, or traditionally the fridge. Either way is fine as long as air circulates on all sides of the meat. To achieve that, I like using a cookie sheet that lifts the meat 1/4 of an inch from the ground. A great trick that Tom Cruise taught me. And the dry aging process begins now, and it will end 1 month later while the meat sits here all the time. Quick 10 days update. Meat looks Gucci, its weight dropped like my self-esteem when I was a teenager. It started with 1766 grams and we have now 1543 grams, so that's a 30% water drop. 20 days later, we're about to enter meat heaven and Steak Peter is awaiting us at the gate. The meat weight dropped 28% from its initial weight, so things look good. But this apartment is kind of boring. Let's switch it up a bit. Nature. Where were we? Yes, so let's portion and clean up the steaks. First, cut the ends off, then cut the tenderloin into 1 to 1.5 inch pieces. Take each piece and remove the leathery part until you'll get a clean exterior like this. If you dare throwing the leathery parts away, stop here. The flavor of this is richer than Jeff Bezos, so just use them next time you're making chili or burgers. Or use them as a winter blanket. As for seasoning, I recommend using only salt and letting the dry aged flavor punch you right in the face. So let's check my Nike Steak toolbox for salt. Where is the salt? Hold on, where the fuck is the salt? No, I forgot it at home. After fake salting it, time to grill these bad boys up, and I'm not even gonna use a thermometer to check on the temperature because I feel lucky today, says the girl that forgot the salt at home. Flipping the steak a few times, letting them sizzle until they look gorgeous and ready to be devoured. What can I say? I feel like I took the flavor rocket to the moon. The meat is super tender, very beefy, almost bison unlike in taste, I almost get the feeling of eating funky cheese in French Alps. Please excuse me while I indulge in this plate of meats and let you in on this beat drop. Let me tell you something, okay? I said flavorful steak instead of cake. Dry aged meat, make that steak game weak. Whoa, yeah, you eating some dry aged meat. Bring the salt, leave the pepper for this dry aged meat. Cause forever and ever, that's what you wanna eat. Now bring the meat, make dry steak, that's some dry aged meat. Now bring the knife, throw your cake for this dry aged meat. I'm talking damn, that's some dry aged meat. Flavorful mouth shot, that's some dry aged meat, huh? Alright guys, and that's a wrap. I definitely recommend giving this a try if you have the money to experiment with this kind of stuff. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed spending time with me, destroy that subscribe button, teach that to the bell algorithm boost boss, and like and comment on the video. And until next time, remember, life is hard, better get used to it.